Welcome to the Search Hustle podcast. We are sitting in William's house, crammed in his office. But hey, here we are. This is Dave, Scott, William back there at the big desk.
Well, the reason is we agreed if we work from home, then that you guys will drive across our entire city.
Okay, yeah.
And make it happen.
That's
so
true.
Here we are making it happen.
Just to be clear, we're in his attic. We are crammed into the attic.
Nice looking attic, right?
Yeah. Okay, so first episode, as we come back to having episodes again, we're going to talk a little bit about Nozak Consulting. We moved into working from home lifestyle a little bit, and so we're talk about the benefits of that.
How many weeks has it been?
Three full weeks?
4 weeks?
21 days, almost. Okay.
So we're about a month in to the change, and just trying to see if the benefits, the costs that takes, and going from there. So, William, why don't you tell us a little bit about why we started working from home?
Well, the truth is we've been working from home on Fridays for, I don't know, how many years?
Year and a half, probably.
Year and a half, 2 years. So we've already been work from home Fridays. And I take a lot of trips in the year. And usually during those trips, we're work from home. So everyone has already had their stations and their build outs already built out. Everyone had been working on their own home studio, multiple monitors. So it wasn't like we went straight from 5 days a week, strict office time, to straight work from home, which to me, I would be significantly more uncomfortable with. If people hadn't already been showing that, look, my home studio is as good as my office studio. My gear is as good. I'm not just working on a laptop from my kitchen table. Like, I'm sitting down at a robust multi-screen, wraparound screen with side screens. Like, everyone's dual screen, wrap screen. So for me, it wasn't like, okay, this is as big of a jump as just straight, we're in the office and now we're work from home.
Yeah, I'm not going to say all of our office equipment sucked, William, and our home setups are way better.
You're a gamer. That's different.
I have upgraded my home setup, being able to kind of combine, like the Power Rangers, combining all of their skills to now have a big mega.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
I was never going to buy my own ultra wide, crazy expensive screen, but now I have one at home, so it's great. But yeah, Dave, how have you liked working from home?
Good.
Good.
Yes.
It was a pretty seamless transition. It felt like the next growth step. I think the other big thing was just comms, like everybody being used to communicating at home when we have these periods or Fridays and other times when William's traveling and stuff like that. So
we always looked forward to when William traveled, because then we could be like, work from home tomorrow.
I think our communication has stayed solid. I think that's one of the ways to do a work from home team is you have to be in constant communication. And I have to be able to see where we are at all times. I just have to open up a page and take a look. And so I think the software that we adopted, 5 years ago, our project management software that is super expensive, but between the tickets that everyone's working on, the projects that everyone's working on, where we're stuck and what we need collaborative help on, if we didn't have that software, if we didn't have Slack for daily communication and we didn't already have home setups, all of that just makes it where it doesn't really even feel like we're at work from home for me.
Yeah. The learning curve would have been huge.
Would have been bigger.
Yeah. Without that slow transition.
Yeah. Without the Acello software, without the Slack, and without the home offices, I think it becomes a little bit more risky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the running joke for me, is why are we even in this office? We're communicating in the office via Slack. We have the software that we communicate instead of talking to each other in the next room. So it's always
if you're Scott, you have headphones on the whole day and you don't have one
because
conversation.
Somebody's yelling in meetings.
Yeah. Wait, who?
Exactly. That's one of those, if you don't know the answer, then it's you.
So there's got to be some cons. So from I'll share some of what my reservations are. What do y'all see as cons like dangers from the business perspective, dangers for an employer, dangerous for you at the individual.
Definitely the social isolation plays a big hand. If you don't do those morning meetings just to get on the same page. We did like week 2, we didn't meet for the first hour of the day.
Yeah.
So we kind of took a break from that. And that was an immediate shift for me where I was like, do I have a job still? Did I get fired and nobody told me?
Isolated. You felt the isolation.
Yeah, but the 9 a.m. meetings when we're all just kind of checking in, even if it's not strategic, if it's just, what are you guys up to? You know,
well, you have to know Scott is a regimen guy. He shows up at the same time, you know, eats at the same time, sits with his gun facing the same direction. I mean, this guy just like if he doesn't have that normal, consistent, you know, this happens in my day. You get the feeling of, guys,
hello.
Is
this on?
So that's funny to hear because that makes a lot of sense. Us knowing your personality and like how you are like a routine type of guy.
Oh yeah, big on routine. It's an ADHD thing.
Yeah, you're big on routine. So for me, some of the fears, you know, and this is just, you know, straight from my brain here. Social isolation and loneliness, which Scott just said. Look, you can run aground with that, and all of you guys are fairly sociable. Dusty's probably the most sociable. Dave and Scott probably on the backside of that. Difficulty separating work and personal life. You know, my fear is that your wives don't respect the fact that you are on company time. And that is always my fear of, hey, you know, I have expectation to be able to reach you, as you know, at all times of the day, 7 days a week. And because of that, I have become like, you know, if I can't reach you during the day, it's not a big deal because I know I can usually reach you on a Sunday. But like having that, like that fine line of, hey, you know, I am home, but I am also responsible for this job and not like, I'm not daddy daycare and also working this. And that can work. That can work in spurts and phases and seasons. But like, that is my major concern.
I think that's, for me, it was like the pro-con list was bouncing off of that is really, it has to be trust, right? There's not
a lot of trust.
This is probably the core group of people to try work from home with that, you know, everybody is responsible enough, ownership enough in their department that we're not going to try to juke the system per se, where there are people that you hire that in the office you're babysitting them. So there's no way that
it's true
in the office, if you have to babysit them, that they're going to be,
they're good candidids. They're not.
Exactly. And so I think there's a lot of that comes down to the ownership side of it. Yeah. We're available to you 24/7 in a sense, because we know that we have to have ownership in our departments. And if there's a red flag issue that pops up, it needs resolved. And one of us is the only ones that can do it.
All right. So let me just ask this question across the board. Scott, I call you on a Saturday or a Sunday. Are you answering?
If I have my phone in my hand, yeah.
So Dusty, I call you on a Saturday, Sunday. You answering?
Sometimes I let it go to voicemail to see what you want.
Yeah, you do, don't you? I noticed that. I screen
my calls. Yeah,
I noticed that. Dave, I call you on a Saturday or Sunday. Are you answering?
Yep.
Yeah. So for me, I know that I've gained that access into spots of your own lives that should be shut off from a job, and so, you know, that's why going work from home, like it allows you to kind of carve out a little bit of time in that day. And there is trust been built there, trust that has been built there. So
I think a perk though is you waste a lot of time in the office just as much.
Right.
So it's
true.
like, so
I don't call it waste. I call ping pong games team building.
Ping pong games.
You know, we played how many ping pong games over the last 5 years? Thousands, tens of thousands.
Well, I used to have a spreadsheet for that.
Yeah. I mean, we had names on the wall, a belt to be won, teams that would never lose.
And waiting for people to not be using the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the bath. Oh my God.
Surely
the one
there's
bathroom
like a
building.
culture aspect of it, you know, but there's always like in an office, especially there's that 1 p.m., 2 p.m. crash during the day. And then it's like, you know, you play ping pong game. You talk about like 4-hour work mentality where there's small amounts of time where you can actually have true focus, and the amount of times in an office that gets interrupted instead of in a private office at home.
Dave, what book talks
Are you
about
able to do
that? Where it shows you your focus window? Was it the one where we talked Second Brain? Was it Second Brain or
No.
one of the books that you and I both consumed showed like this? I think it was the Wahlbeck video series where it showed somebody has to stay engaged on a project. It takes them 15 minutes to get in it, and then they can stay in it for 2 or 3 hours. Wasn't it that Wahlbeck training?
I thought it was 4-hour work week, but it's probably a
I
Okay,
don't
maybe it's
remember
4-hour
that.
work week. Yeah, where like it takes you time to get in, and like as soon as you get pulled out of that mindset, it takes you that time to re-gear back up.
I could tell. I mean, a few things that I've implemented successfully. One, having a sign on my home office door. So my kids love G.I. Joe, so I chat GPT to an image of Cobra Commander on a Zoom call. If that image is on my door, they know they can't barge in.
I love that.
If it's up, then they know they could walk in and grab a toy or ask me a question. But if it's down, they know I'm in a meeting and they're going to be on camera if they walk in that door.
Yeah, you are the champion of work from home. You know, I feel like you've got it down. Whereas my door stays open, kids come in and crawl in my lap, and I'm like, yeah, this is my child.
No.
You're very, very much better about that.
The other big one was I picked this up on a podcast, but I forgot about it until recently. It was Cal Newport, which is kind of creating more of that separation like you're talking about, which is definitely more of a struggle for me of like when the work week's over. So like on Fridays, I have a shutdown protocol that I go through to officially disconnect from work. And Cal Newport's talked about this on a couple different podcasts. I think his book is Deep Work, if I remember correctly, but basically you go through, I open a blank Notion page. I do a mind dump of everything that's unfinished on Friday
That's
afternoon.
Smart. Yeah.
Because
so
usually
you don't
my
dream
brain's
about it all night?
Yeah, my brain's freaking out at the end of the week.
About it all night if I don't dump it.
And like, it takes me like Friday night to like 10 o'clock before I feel like a human being probably.
Yeah.
But this, I go through, I dump it all out. I close all my windows, make sure all emails are sent, minimize Slack, and then you literally say out loud, Operation Shutdown Complete. It's a weird thing, but you say it out loud, and then I lock the computer, and boom, my brain makes the change.
Smart.
And I'm disconnected.
So you're a robot.
I'm out of the matrix, baby.
100%
Yeah.
a part of the matrix. Is there anything else we need to cover on the benefits, the pros, cons on work from home? What you guys feel like we've done it justice? Is there something else someone else might have a question about?
I mean, just on the benefits side, the amount of time that you get back is incredible.
Is it?
Particularly for Dusty and I. I mean, we have a 30 to 45 if there's traffic. Like it's routine.
One-way commute.
You two are the
one way.
furthest from the office.
Yeah, and I mean with 44 in Tulsa, like that'll get shut down all the time where you're just sitting there for 15 minutes on the highway.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
like now I'm in my desk 45 minutes earlier in the day.
Yeah,
which
me
means
too.
I can clock out 45 minutes earlier.
Me too.
Mhm.
And I get to eat lunch
I
with
get
my
here,
wife. That's
I
nice.
sit right at my desk. I work more. You know, the truth is I work more. Like for me, I get to walk up to my desk. I'm working all the time. Like
awesome.
I know you guys have that same benefit.
Well, there has been studies that people who work from home do work more because when they're bored and they have that thing on their brain.
Mhm.
If you're not a gamer, then you're like,
Well, thanks for watching or listening. And if you have any questions on how we work from home and how our processes work, just leave them in the comments or just spam William at nozakconsulting.com.